In our busy family lives, there are lots of little tasks to be done, lots of small errands to be run. Many of these small tasks are achieved by driving short distances. In this video, I want to explain how I think EVs can better help us achieve our goals. In our oh-so-busy lives, we have to spend a lot of time running small errands. Parents especially suffer from pressures on their time that make their lives very busy. These days, a car often plays an important part in enabling us to do all of the little tasks we have to achieve. For parents, there are lots of short journeys. For example, to take children to school or to pick them up again, or to their after-school activities or social events. We may need to drive older relatives to appointments if they're no longer as mobile as they once were. Shopping trips to pick up a few items are quicker if we drive. And for grocery shopping, where we need to buy a lot, then cars help with the heavy lifting. This allows us to buy more in each trip and thus have to go less frequently. Some of the times we drive, the car is a strange choice of transport anyway. How many people do you know who drive to the gym, or perhaps drive the dog to a local park for a walk? In these cases, the very point is doing exercise, and yet we may choose to drive either to help reduce the time taken to do so, or to be exercising in nicer places. The common theme amongst all of these errands is that they involve short journeys. They may require us to be in the car just for a short period of time, as long as traffic is kind to us. Unfortunately, internal combustion engine cars are not good at these short journeys. Each time we start an internal combustion engine, they are inefficient until the engine heats up. That is because they use additional fuel to be able to run without stalling before they reach normal operating temperature. Furthermore, the catalytic converter on an internal combustion engine car needs to be hot to work properly. So when we first start an ICE engine, they also generate more of the harmful emissions they produce than once the car has warmed up correctly. This can include things like carbon monoxide, hydrocarbons, and nitrogen dioxide. That's why you might have noticed that your car exhaust smells different when the car is started from cold. Lots of starts of the engine also increases wear as the oil pressure is low before the engine is running. This can reduce the life of the engine, as well as causing slow degradation in fuel economy as the piston rings wear and cylinder pressure starts to reduce. Depending on the weather, ICE cars can also be no fun to be in at first. In the winter, their interiors are cold, and in the summer, they are hot. Indeed, we may be tempted to run the car to warm up or cool down the cabin before we drive away. However, this increases their overall emissions. Remember, you get 0 miles per gallon while the car is sat idling. This has also become a theft risk, as opportunistic thieves are increasingly stealing ICE cars that have been left idling. EVs, on the other hand, cope much better with these short journeys. An EV's efficiency is not anywhere near as dependent on the temperature of the drivetrain, so they suffer less from reduced efficiency at the start of a journey. The motors in EVs do not use pumped oil, so there is no increase in wear from using an EV for a short journey. Whilst the fixed ratio gearbox that they use contains some oil, this does not need a pump to circulate it, so it does not suffer from the same problem. One of an EV's handy party tricks is cabin preconditioning. With an app on your phone, or sometimes with a button on the key, we can start preconditioning remotely. having an EV bring the cabin up to a comfortable temperature with the car still locked and without needing to run the drivetrain. By the time we get into the car, it's already at a nice temperature, and it is also demisted and de-iced in the winter. There is no risk of theft from using preconditioning because the car remains locked while it is done. Even if we don't have time to use preconditioning, in my experience, EVs also warm up much more quickly. You see, in an ICE car, the cabin is heated using waste heat from the engine. That requires the heat to build up in the engine before it is available in the cabin. In contrast, the cabin heating system in an EV is a purpose-built system solely designed for heating the interior of the car. There is no need for something else to warm up before it can start supplying heat to the occupants of the car. Imagine a world where you never have to get into a car that is too cold in the winter or too hot in the summer. It's a joyous benefit of an EV, and one that I think you'll like when you get one for yourself. There is also another benefit from EVs. You see, there is no need to run the drivetrain to keep the cabin up to temperature while you wait to collect someone. I'm uncomfortable seeing a line of cars waiting to collect children outside a school or a club with their engines idling. But with an EV, there are no CO2 emissions or harmful nitrogen dioxides being emitted while we're keeping the cabin up to temperature. So those are not being produced close to the very places that we hope will keep our children safe as we wait for them. As a result, while you sit in the car waiting for Billy to finish his ballet class, or perhaps for Tiffany to get out of the after-school nuclear fusion club, an EV keeps you comfortable whilst also being responsible for as long as we have to wait. In summary, EVs are not perfect, but they offer significant benefits on short journeys. They are more efficient and produce less harmful emissions than an ICE car at the best of times, but especially so at the start of a journey, which might be the whole of the journey if we're just doing short hops. We also get the benefit of preconditioning the cabin before we set off, so that we are more comfortable on our journey. For this reason, having an EV as the family runaround is a great step into the joys of EV ownership. If you are a two-car family and one is used largely for short journeys, then replacing that car with an EV offers many benefits without having any of the range concerns that you might have when replacing the mile muncher. Well, that's it for another video. Thanks very much for joining me. Your questions and comments are most welcome in the section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this subject. If you've liked the video, then it's a help to me if you click the thumbs up button. That shows YouTube that you've enjoyed it, and it may promote it to other people who will also enjoy it. And of course, click subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks.